Welcome to the Next Ring Podcast. It's championship week. Today's Wednesday, January 21st. This is your host, as always, Adam Brazizi, joined by both of my co-hosts today, Nick Calderon and Chris Garabedian. Boys, I'm fired up, man. We're about 4 days away from a chance to punch our ticket to the Super Bowl, which is certainly not something I thought we'd be saying going into this season. When I started this podcast, certainly didn't think that would be the case. I mean, the Patriots have won 16 of their last 17 games. I feel like that's being overlooked, but that's my intro for today. G, Cal, how we doing?
I'm nervous, but I'm excited. You know, it's like if you're not a little nervous, I feel like you're not a fan. You know what I mean? Even if you feel good about the matchup, it's that nerves that creep in there, and it's like, holy shit, like we could be going to the Super Bowl. You know, if that doesn't get you feeling some kind of way, then I don't know what will. So, thankfully, I've been very busy at work this week. Busy with work this week. So, like, I've been able to kind of during the day at least focus in. But you know, when I'm done with work, it's like it's all you can think about.
Oh my God, yeah. It's we definitely did not expect this year, and it just makes it that much better. It just feels right. It feels normal. It's like it's as fucking much as I know people that aren't Patriots fans hate that, but it's true. It feels normal, and it's I'm definitely, to echo G, I'm a little nervous, and I know we'll probably get into it a little bit, but I'm honestly more nervous because of we have a lot to lose.
That's what I had.
Jarrett Stidham, like we have a lot to lose.
Yeah, we were just chatting with Cal was kind of having some audio issues before we hopped on, and I was saying, it's felt like it's been house money for a few weeks now, where it's like, you know, we have a great thing going forward. This has been like an A+ season that sets us up for a ton of future success. But, you know, and if we were just playing, I think, Broncos with Bo Nix, or if we were playing Buffalo, you know, we'd probably be okay if we lost the game, close game, you know, kind of reasonable, right? But now it's like you're 5.5-point favorites in the conference championship playing against the guy who started 4 career games. It would be a tough pill to swallow if they don't take advantage of this, because you just never know if you're going to get back here again, you know? Like, we were so lucky over the years with just an incredible run of success, but you see all these franchises. I mean, these teams that have great quarterbacks, the Bills, the Ravens, like, you know, they both made what, 1 or 2 AFC championships over this time that they've had Josh and Lamar. Is that correct?
Has Lamar even made them?
He lost one.
He did.
Lamar made one.
Yeah.
He lost in 2023.
Did Josh lost one?
Josh lost 2. He lost 2020, and then he lost last year.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, they never even got to the Super Bowl. So we have a serious opportunity. I mean, even looking across the bracket, it's like, I think we can beat the Seahawks and Rams. We're going to be dogs. I think the Vegas look ahead has us as like 3.5-point dogs with either of those teams, which sounds about right. But I mean, certainly, you know, we come and play our A game. I certainly think we can beat anybody. So, yeah, I mean, like
I don't even want to talk about the Super Bowl yet, Brew. Come on.
No,
I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to talk about
it.
I had some kids in the office today that were already having those conversations, and I'm like, no, let's wait. Come on, week by week. Come on.
100%. But I mean, it's. I'm just, you know, talking like it's not just a fan view. You can kind of get a look at the whole league. But yeah, I mean, Pats, I feel like it's crazy. Like, they're being talked about like it's like, oh my God, they just benefit from this easy schedule. They've won 16 of their past 17 games, and the one loss was a game they were winning by 21. The game they lost before that, they had 5 turnovers and still had the ball at the end with a chance to win. Outside of a week 1 debacle against the Raiders, it's really just been a awesome football team. And I think that's being a little bit overlooked by a lot of people, just how consistently good they've been. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I guess any leftover thoughts from Sunday before we kind of hop into previewing this game? I don't have much.
Not anything major.
I think we handled it all. I'm past the Texans. My focus is on Denver at 3:00 Sunday. So no more thoughts on the Texans.
I got one.
All right.
I don't know if you guys saw CJ Stroud's interview yesterday.
No.
He basically was like, yeah, like, you know, I think in my career, like, you know, in college and stuff, everybody was always asking me to be Superman and, now that I got such a good defense, like, I'm so used to trying to make plays, and that might be why I, like, I played so bad, and I gotta, like, take the check downs. It's like, dude, just take the blame.
Yeah.
Like, you just played literally the worst game since, like, Jake Delhomme back in the day when he had 5 picks. Like, that was one of the worst playoff performances of all time. I don't know, man. It's kind of comical seeing this kid. He is, like, living in a different planet. If I'm the Texans, I'm moving on from him. And, like, I've seen enough. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
They're going to pick up his option just because it's you in a situation like that. You have to, but they're going to bring someone in to compete. So, but the funniest thing about this whole CJ Stroud is after the game. Have you guys seen all these clips of the lookalikes?
Yeah.
The CJ Stroud lookalikes dancing on the beach and doing whatever. It's fucking so funny. The internet is gold, man.
The internet, yeah.
Internet is gold.
But yeah, I think they're gonna have to, like, at least sit him down and be like, dude, you were the problem. Like, you got to figure it out and start working, and we're moving on from your ass. You ain't getting that payday because he just doesn't seem to get it. I don't know. G, any thoughts on that?
I don't know how the hell you walk into the locker room if you're CJ Stroud without. I don't know. You never know what someone says behind closed doors, but what he said to the media was an absolute joke. If you're an actual leader, you have to own your outcome. And you had, like, if he was an actual leader, he wouldn't have went into the locker room after they lost the game and said, guys, I cost us a chance to go to the Super Bowl this year. I lost us this football game. I'm going to do everything I can in the offseason to make sure that this never happens again. That's what leadership is. I highly doubt he did anything like that. I don't know how the hell you could believe in him. If you're Will Anderson and you almost won that game by yourself, I don't know how the hell you could look like, that's not my quarterback. I mean,
Did you see what Will said?
Yeah, but he's the best quarterback in the league, yeah.
He said, that's the best quarterback. It's like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we'll move on. You got to defend your guy in public, but in private, I mean, if you gave Will Anderson some truth serum, no fucking way he believes that.
Yeah. One other leftover thought, just because I always have to mention it, is all these mic'd up clips that keep coming out. One thing I noticed, and I fucking love it, is Milton Williams and Christian Barmore just seem like boys, and they're just a bad duo. And they make sure to find each other after every play. And just, you can tell those guys feed off each other. And damn, that's just a bad duo.
It's like the Bash Brothers do to football, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just a bad bunch, dude. When Milton's like, they're gonna double me, they're gonna leave you one-on-one. It's like, all right. I love it. Got me fired up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. And just some injury news before we get into the preview. Sounds like Joshua Farmer's gonna be back, so add some interior defensive line depth with when you're going into that mile-high altitude in Denver. You're gonna need as much really substitution guys that can come and rotate as well. So that's good to hear. Sounds like Mac Hollins is probably not going to play this week. They didn't activate his practice window. I was surprised.
Super surprised.
Me too.
Yeah. I wish we had some clarity on that injury. It's just like, oh, he's got an abdomen. Like, an abdomen is so broad, you know?
Yeah. Not sure.
It sounds like Carlton Davis, we were talking before he hopped on, Cal, he's in the concussion protocol, but he had a limited practice today in the red non-contact. So hopefully he's on that Sam Christian Gonzalez time frame. He can get back to play for Sunday. Seems pretty likely, I would assume.
Yeah, that's he's already at phase 4.
Phase 4. He's going to play.
Yeah, that's good news. And then the Broncos, they started their window for J.K. Dobbins to come off IR, who's pretty damn good running back. So he could add a little bit of dynamism to their backfield. He's had a much better season than RJ Harvey did for them. So he's obviously going to be a little rusty. You never even know if they end up activating him. Sometimes those guys, he only got a limited practice today. Sometimes those guys,
if there's a game to activate him, it's this one though.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, let's hop into the game. So Patriots versus Broncos. This is the third time we've gotten this as an AFC championship matchup in our lifetimes, or is it the fourth?
Third AFC Championship. We played them in the divisional round in 2005.
Okay, yeah. So we
lost
with that was the Champ Bailey Ben Watson game.
Yep.
A classic.
Was the Tebow was Tebow? That was a divisional. Was Tebow divisional? That wasn't AFC Championship, was it?
That was divisional. Yeah,
that was divisional. Yeah,
we've lost every time we've played in Denver. So we've lost in 15. I'll never
13.
forget. We lost that game. We're sitting in my parents' basement, like me, like Obi, Dave, we were all like so depressed, and we were like, "Let's move out. Let's move out." We ended up like going looking at a house in Salty that week, and ended up renting
Yeah.
it. We sat there for like 30 minutes, like, all right, let's go, let's do something fun.
Yeah.
We lost
Love
that
it.
one, and then it was what 13, where like they just kind of torched us in Denver.
Yep, Wes Walker, dirty pick play on Aqib Talib, took him out of the game. I've never
Yeah.
seen Bill Belichick do this before nor since. Berated Wes Walker in his post game afterwards. That was a scumbag play. Game changed completely after that. I do remember that.
Yeah, I remember that in college. Yeah, that was tough. So yeah, I mean, it's been a house of horrors for the Pats in the playoffs. I think they lost there at one time back in like the 80s, maybe too.
Yeah, they did.
So that being said, it's a whole new team, whole new coaching staff. There's not a player remaining from either of those rosters. So, you know,
Yep.
it's totally different. Patriots are 5.5-point favorites right now. I think it opened at 5.5. It moved down to 4.5. Now, as of Wednesday, it's back to 5.5. Over under is 42.5. What do you guys think about the spread? I think it's about right. I'm seeing some people think it's too high.
I mean, it's pretty sure I heard it's the highest spread from an away team in an AFC Championship history.
Wow.
That
Yeah, it
makes me
kinda
feel
checks out, though.
terrible.
I know that's why I remember when I heard it, it stuck.
It's a unique situation, though. Let's be honest. Like, we're going up against a guy who's
Oh,
taking a snap all
absolutely.
season. That's why I think we probably would have been. I think the look-ahead lines had us as a slight favorite if Knicks had played. Like
Is
maybe
that
like a
right? Really?
1.5-point favorite. Yeah, I think that's what it was. So it's not like this is like out of the like it's not like it switched like
Yeah.
8 points. It's probably switched like 4.
Yep.
But yeah, looking at some of the EPA numbers, the Patriots, I actually included the playoffs in these. Patriots are 4th in offense if you include the playoffs. Obviously, their offense hasn't been clicking. That's a little bit lower than regular season. They're second in dropback EPA per play, 25th in rush. The Broncos defense are 10th overall, 9th in dropback, 12th in rush. So you could definitely run them a little bit more in the last couple of teams. So yeah, the Broncos, I mean, their defense, it's not at the level by EPA as we saw with the Chargers and the Texans. I think, they're generally considered one of the best defenses in the league. I think DVOA, the other stat a lot of people use for kind of overall play that has them a bit higher. Offensively, the Broncos are 14th. They're 12th in dropback. I expect that to be a bit lower with Jarrett Stidham, 21st in rush. They really have not been great running the football this season, even though they have a great offensive line. Patriots are 6th in defense, 5th in dropback, 11th in rush. So, again, those rush numbers, when we've had our healthy unit, has been absolutely dominant. So, it feels like a game where our rush defense should just shut them down, similar to what we did to Houston. And that could really, when you're going up against a backup quarterback, it just feels like a game where I really like the way we match up defensively with them. So, I don't know. What do you think, G?
I think it's going to be key. I mean, the one thing that I have seen is that Denver potentially might be on their third string center, which, Milt Williams and Barmore and Tong are already dominating these playoffs as it is. If they get up there against a third string center, they're gonna take advantage for sure. If J.K. Dobbins plays, okay, he's a threat. If he doesn't play or he's, still very limited and it's just R.J. Harvey running the ball or whoever they have, number 38, I remember his last name. McLaughlin, yeah.
Shalia?
If those are their running backs and that's what's going to happen, we'll dominate this game shutting down the run. I have no worries about that. And then if you do that, then if you get back, you have to have Jarrett Stidham drop back 35 times in this game. You're not setting yourself up for success for Denver. So I think that's like my number one key to the game is completely shut down the run game and make them one-dimensional.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be it's a strength on strength matchup this week. I think there was a stat out there which is I'm going to be curious how it stacks up. Is their as pedestrian as their rushing attack has been for the Broncos, I think they rank like top 1 or 2 in yards before contact. So their offensive line typically gets a good push, but they're also ranked like last in yards after contact. So I'm curious to see I thought it was an interesting like comparison of stats.
Definitely.
And again, strength on strength. So I think if those boys up front can continue to do what they're doing, and I think what G said, it's going to it starts up the middle, especially with their center, because they got a good offensive line. They got, what do they have, two All-Pros on that offensive line right now?
Two
So,
first-team All-Pros, their right
yeah,
guard and their left tackle.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Garrett Bowles, the left tackle's really good. McGlinchey,
yeah,
the right tackle's good too.
yep.
He can
So,
be had, McGlinchey. I remember him when he was on the 49ers. He's good, but he's not that good. I'll take Chase on over him or wherever if we put something along those lines or we get some pressure with him. He can be had.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what's the right tackle? Ming
It's McGlinchey. That's what I said. Yeah.
I mean,
The right guard is
right guard.
Quinn
He's the one who was
Miners.
the first-team All-Pro.
Yeah. Him and
great
Barmore
numbers.
matched up a couple years ago. Barmore had 2 sacks on him. Obviously, different year, different, like that always changes, but just a little nugget. So again, I think it's gonna strength on strength. It's gonna be a major part of this game, just like all these playoff games. Controlling the line of scrimmage. So
Yeah, and I think the Broncos defense has not been as good recently as they were earlier in the season. I was seeing like a Broncos reporter on Twitter just saying like, we haven't been as good. I looked it up. Since their Week 12 bye, they're only 14th in EPA per play defensively, 13th in dropback. So you could throw on them. And I mean, we saw Josh torch them. We saw Trevor Lawrence light them up. It just feels like Drake's, I think they have the most pressure in the league. So that's going to be a concern.
Yeah.
But if we can protect Drake, and, I think that they're susceptible to like passes out in the flats. Like there's a lot of ways you can attack these guys. And I just feel like we're due for a game where Drake's just more himself, more not fumbling 4 times. Like it's like even like the Chargers game where like we were driving all day and then we were kind of like not finishing drives, we were turning it over. If we can just be a little safer, I feel like we can run the ball on these guys. Like I feel like we're going to be able to run offense on them. And I don't know. Looking at the matchup, I feel pretty damn good. But it's like when you take like the macro view of like you're going into Denver, the altitude, it's a lot of pressure, and then I mean, Sean Payton just has a huge opportunity in front of him. Like he's got that. They all of a sudden are like the ultimate nobody believes in us team, and that's a scary team to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up at some point. The Sean Payton effect is major this week. Like he is, if there's one of the coaches in the league from an offensive standpoint that you have to respect, like obviously there's the McVays, there's like there are those, but Sean Payton has been doing this a while. He's called big games. He always comes out with a good script, so I expect them to start fast. But he's a guy in this type of game that I can imagine him being even a little extra motivated.
Yeah, as much as I hate him, as much as I can't stand him, he is a very good football coach. And I know and his record with backup quarterbacks is very good historically. He did because Drew Brees towards the end of this tenure in New Orleans, was obviously older and banged up. He missed a lot of time. He had good records with Teddy Bridgewater and some of these other guys. Now, granted, Teddy Bridgewater was a first-round pick and, earlier in his career. So he's like an former player. Stidham hasn't played, but I think he will be as prepared as anybody could be to play in this game. And Sean Payton's going to try and make it as easy as possible for him in this game. He's not going to call any plays that he's not comfortable with. And one thing that is a good thing for the Patriots, though, is Bo Nix was a great athlete, and he could run.
Mm-hmm.
And they got him on a lot of RPOs, and he was good on those scrambling plays. Stiddy's not an athlete. He can't do that. He's not going to be able to move in the pocket like that. So that's one thing that's going to go away. But I do think that Sean Payton will have him ready to play at some level and that he won't shit down his pants like CJ Stroud did at least.
Yeah, and Knicks has been playing well, man. I mean, since that Week 12 bye, they're 7th in dropback EPA per play. Their offense is 9th overall. They're only 21st in rush. They've been much more relying on throwing the football and just watching them. I mean, it feels like so many of their games this year, it's been close game. They're kind of teams hanging around, and then late fourth quarter, Bo just kind of goes clutch. Like, I watched the game last week when they got the ball late. I was like, he's going to get a touchdown here. This is kind of what this kid's done all year.
Yep.
And expecting a backup to be in those spots. Like, it just... They've had I think they have like 12 one-score wins. Like I was really digging into their season today. Like 11, including last week, 12 one-score wins. I mean, basically all of their games have been close, and they pulled out almost all of the close ones. Like, they haven't felt like a juggernaut one seed profile really all season. And I mean, they did win at Philly, they won at Houston, they won at Kansas City, at Green Bay, they beat Buffalo last week. Like, those are some good wins. They lost in that weird like indie game where like the kick got ruled off, whatever it was called. Like, they lost at the Chargers, and then they lost versus the Jags. And the Jags were really the only one who really put a good beating on them. But it's been an interesting team. Like, I think all year it's been like, yeah, they're the one seed. Nobody's really like terrified of playing them. We saw it last week. Buffalo probably just kind of like gave that game away with the stupid turnovers, you know? So
They did.
Yeah. They're a balanced team, though. I'll say that's the thing about them. I don't want to say like I haven't dove into their season and followed them like super closely, so I don't want to speak on it too much. But they don't strike me as a team that can win in a number of different ways, or was a team that could win in a number of different ways. I feel like when they would win, it was what kind of you were saying, Brew, is always kept around. They played good defense for the most part, and Bo Nix would make a play or two down the stretch, and they'd always be in the games. But they don't strike me the team that's going to be able to win a multitude of different ways. But again, I could be completely wrong there because I haven't dove into their season that much.
I mean, I
watched a lot of their
wins,
games. They didn't
dude.
blow anybody out other than the Cowboys.
And not only didn't they blow them out, like they were losing 19-0 going to the fourth quarter against the New York Giants at home.
Yeah.
Somehow scored 33 in the fourth to win 33-32. And even that, like I think the Giants like fumbled late. Like, they just had some weird games. But, you know, they kind of had like sometimes you get that winning and it just kind of starts rolling. You start believing in yourself. So obviously the story of this game, you know, it's almost like the elephant in the room, is Jarrett Stidham. Let's be honest. Jarrett Stidham, 2019 fourth round pick by our New England Patriots. He spent 3 years in New England. I think it was going to that 2020 season. We thought like, oh, Stiddy's going to be the guy. And then they signed Cam Newton and he kind of was never heard from again. And then a couple years later, when McDaniels goes to Vegas, he goes out and trades for him, right? Did he sign him or trade for him?
Traded him.
He might have traded for him. Yeah. So he played, I think he played 1 year in Vegas, and then he's been in Denver for 3. And Denver handed him like a decent contract to be a backup. I think they thought he was maybe going to start originally. So what was it? The first year, it was Russ.
Yeah.
So he kind of came in, then they signed Ross, and then they drafted Nix. So he's just never really gotten a chance to be the starter anywhere. And he hasn't attempted a pass since the 2023 season, which is wild, man.
Crazy.
Well, there was play football.
It was I don't know the exact number of days, but I was listening this morning to some of the guys on CLNS. I think it was Barth who had the stat or one of those guys. And he will have the longest streak, number of days between passes thrown to start an AFC Championship by more than double than the next person. And you know who the next person is? Super random.
Wait, say the stat one more time. I want to hear it. I want to see if I can guess it.
Yep. If there's anyone, it's going to be G. We already know that. ChatGPT knows that G's going to get it. But so Jarrett Stidham has the longest streak in number of days between pass attempts to start an NFL playoff game. And he has that by more than double the next person. Who is the next person? Super
Joe Montana?
Super random. Nope.
Okay.
More recent. It was more recent. A little more recent.
Who was it? I don't know.
Joe Webb.
Joe Webb. Wow.
The
Remember
Vikings.
when he went to
was
Green Bay and
that?
was the worst quarterback ever in that playoff game for the Vikings?
Yep.
Who got hurt before?
I don't even remember, but I heard it. I was like, holy shit, Joe Webb. I haven't heard that name in a freaking decade, it felt like.
Christian Ponder was the Vikings quarterback who got hurt, and then Joe Webb.
They made the conference championship. Oh,
playoff.
A playoff.
Playoff game.
That's what I was.
If I said conference championship,
that makes a lot. I was gonna say I can't remember
playoff game.
I can't remember any situations in sports like in football like this where it's just like, all right, team moves on, but like their key guys toast. Like I feel like it happens in basketball sometimes where like I remember I think it was a couple years ago, like Curry, was it last year where Curry just like missed the second round and it was like, okay, They're not
Yeah.
winning this without. But yeah, I mean, so he hasn't attempted a pass since 2023. His 4 total career starts in 2022 for the Raiders. His first career start, he was actually great. 365 yards against the Niners, who almost won the Super Bowl that year. 3 TDs, 2 picks. Then he played in Kansas City. Yeah, 219, a touchdown, a pick. Lost 31 to 13, took 6 sacks. So that obviously wasn't great. And then the following year for Denver, had a couple starts. He 224 and a touchdown and a 16-9 win. 272 and a touchdown to pick at Vegas and a 27-14 loss. I mean, the sample size is so small. But I mean, I think we talked about it last time where Josh McDaniels knows this kid like the back of his hand. Like Josh McDaniels probably knows him probably better than anybody, which you got to think he's in the meetings with these coaches. Like, this is what he does well. This is what he doesn't, right?
I hope Josh
would
McDaniels
assume.
doesn't see his family this week, that he's living at the facility and that he's working 2 jobs this week. In the defensive room, giving them everything they need to know on this kid, and then also game planning. Couple 5-hour energy shots, whatever. But I don't want that guy leaving the facility this week, because you're right. Nobody knows Jarrett Stidham, other than Sean Payton. Nobody knows him better than McDaniels. So he better be given, and I'm assuming he is, given all the information they need on him.
Yeah, I mean, you would assume that he does, but at the same time, I mean, it's been a number of years, completely different style of offense between McDaniels and Peyton. So who knows? But you would think he has some little tendencies that he would know. He's been around him. He was around him long enough. They looked at him. They almost signed him. They wanted to sign him as the backup this year. So they obviously did research on him. They obviously know him.
Yeah, it's so unique, man. Like, it's just an interesting situation. Like, he's got to be sitting there. Like, you got to be shitting me. I got to start this game. He's got an interesting back. I think his wife's family is like the owners of the Sixers, like
Something like that. But
something like that. But
do you know what also? Sorry, I got a bunch of random shit this week, but I love all of it.
Keep it coming.
It's a revenge game, obviously, but not for Stidham, not for Jarrett Stidham, at least. It's for his girlfriend or wife, because she knows this.
I know this silly.
She hates Boston, specifically 98.5, specifically Hardy, Zoe, and Beetle, because she was trying to become like a makeup influencer, and those guys got a hold of it and ran with it and like just buried her like over and over again in the year, just like making fun of her. And she called the Patriots and basically tried to get the Patriots to get them to stop. And then 98.5 heard about it, and it's like, hey, too bad, honey. We don't work for the team.
Yeah.
And just laid it on more. So it's a revenge game for her more than it is for him.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's such a unique situation. I can't wait to see how it plays out. I guess the $1 million question is like, how much of a downgrade do we think he is from Knicks? Because I feel like a lot of people, like, Knicks is such like a polarizing player as it is. You know, like some days you watch him and it's like, this kid isn't any good, and some days it's like, all right, he's pretty freaking good. It's like, I think if you like gave a full season to Stidham, like he might not be a huge downgrade from Knicks. Maybe. I don't know. I've kind of like started to believe in Bo Nix more as the season's gone on. But being thrown into this spot, it's like are they going to change their offense a lot? Because like you said, I don't think he's as mobile as Nix. I don't know. I really don't know what else to expect. I don't really know what else you can say about him. We have no idea what to expect from the kid.
Bo Nix is a gamer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He is. He is a gamer. Like, his stats might not always be pretty. He might not always be the most accurate throughout the course of the game, but when the chips are on the table, he's got balls. They're losing a lot. The one thing that does go in Denver's advantage, though, is there's no tape on Stidham. There's no really. The only way the Patriots can prepare for him is watch a couple preseason games, maybe something from 3 years ago when he wasn't even in the same offense. They're going to rely on, McDaniels to kind of give him some information on the tendencies and things like that. But it's hard to game plan for someone you haven't seen before. At least like another game, when the backups have stepped in, like when Nick Foles went on that crazy run. Like Nick Foles played the last couple games of the regular season, all the playoff games, there was tape. When Jeff Hostetler was the backup quarterback that won the Super Bowl for the Giants in 1990, He started the last couple regular season games and all the playoff games. So, like, there's some tape on there. There's nothing on this kid. It's going to make it hard to prepare.
Yeah, I think, and that's where I think it's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those scenarios where we start defensively. I don't want to say simple, but maybe we start a little slow and they start fast. He's going to, like I said, Sean Payton's going to come out with a script, and I wouldn't be surprised if Stidham in the first quarter, in the first couple of drives, like, looks fairly solid. And then we start to see what he's doing. Maybe we test him with a couple different looks, see what happens, start to try to go back to the sideline and look, and then make those adjustments. And then as that game gets on, just start to, like, overload him as much as we can and see if we can start getting some pressure, because you have to think if we can get pressure on this kid, it's gonna be tough for him to step in if we can get pressure on him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you're just not used to this, and he's not used to the speed of the NFL. Like, let's be honest, especially a conference championship game. You know, you're coming. It's impossible to simulate that in practice going into a game where you're playing like a real football game. So especially the way they practice nowadays in the NFL. So, and I guess, like, you know, that's a good way to transition to, like, the rest of their offense. It's not like he's throwing in this amazing group of guys either. Like you said, like, Dobbins is a good back. He was actually 5 yards per carry in the season when he was healthy, which is obviously pretty damn good. RJ Harvey was only 3.7 yards per carry. I don't think he's anything great. Cortland Sutton's their best receiver. He had about just a little bit over 1,000 yards this year, 7 touchdowns. I mean, I love having Christian Gonzalez to match up with him. Like, I think Gonzalez is a much better corner than Sutton is a receiver. The rest of that receiving core, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims, Evan Ingram. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, you know? None of those guys are like, oh man, he's gonna burn us today. It's their offensive line we already talked about, they're good, but he's not stepping into this great offense and just, you know, being asked to, you know, 10-2 on the wheel and just drive them home. Like, Bo Nix has been a playmaker for them, and it's like, you know, I don't know. It feels like it could be a game where we just shut them the hell down. And that's what's, like, you know.
I do agree with Cal, though.
Spread.
I feel like Sean Payton's going to have a script, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're down 7-0 early in that game. Just Sean Payton going into his bag of tricks, knowing what this kid does well for, like, the first 10 plays. And then, again, we don't want to show our hand. We're playing, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, kind of defense. But, you know, just not showing our hand. And then eventually, right, like, we'll play our style. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's how the game gets started. But think about, what's his name? Troy Franklin, hamstring injury, limited in practice today. Even if he plays, you know, you're not as good when you got a bad hammy if you're a receiver. And then Pat Bryant, he's probably in stage 4 where Carlton Davis is in concussion protocol. He was limited with a concussion, so he'll probably play. But those are just a couple of guys who are also banged up. So it's not like they're 100% healthy on offense in addition to the major injury to Bo.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be curious to see how we match up with them from a secondary standpoint and what we do, because I know what we've been doing the past couple of games has been a lot, like, we've played a lot more man. We played a lot more matched concepts in zone, where it's essentially you start zone and then you match up and basically play man from there. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up trying to disguise the fuck out of everything and just make him think that little bit extra, see if we can confuse him. And just, I think you throw the kitchen sink at him and see what happens. I think is probably the best way to start, because there's, like what you were saying, we just don't know. That's what makes this, like, so interesting. It's like that's where the healthy level of nerves come from, is I don't think he's a bum. Like, I don't think he is an absolute bum. I think he has some ability. So it's like, the Sean Payton factor. So I don't know, man. I got a healthy level of nerves about it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call, Cal. Like we said, he's never played at this speed, and even the games he's played, it's been like late season meaningless games. He's never played in a game where a team's like, we're throwing everything at this kid and trying to really mess with him, right? Like, that's a whole different animal, and I think that's a huge advantage for us. So I can't wait to see how this plays out, man. Like, it's such an interesting situation. Obviously, you'd rather be in our situation tenfold than their situation,
Of course.
but Yeah, the more we talk through this, the more I feel a little bit more comfortable, if we got to be honest. But yeah, and then the thing that's scary about this game is their defense. Like, as much as we're saying they haven't been playing as well, they're still pretty damn good. Nick Bonito, 14 sacks this year. It's going to be another challenge for Campbell. I don't think he's as good as Will Anderson, but the kid's a good player, and Campbell's got to step up. Like, this is a huge week for him. The talk about him becoming a guard is only going to get louder if every time he plays an elite pass rusher, he gets torched. Like, you just kind of can't have that. Patrick Surtain, the second, won the decoy last year, 2-time first-team All-Pro, second-team All-Pro this year. I mean, that's just an elite corner they have on their side. Drake Greenlaw, Alex Singleton, 2 good linebackers, especially against the run. Talanoa Ufanga, pretty good safety, to make some hits. So there's some players on this defense for sure that I'm just going to have to game
Allen
plan
is
for.
a great interior defensive lineman.
BC Eagle, right?
Frank, is he? Was Zach Allen a BC guy?
I think he was.
You should know, bro. That's your
I was
alma mater, man.
How'd you
Why- don't
hesitate
ask
there?
me.
If he is,
He was. No, I was like
Yeah.
95% sure. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
It sounded like 65%.
It's a popular name, though. I knew there was a Zach Allen out of BC.
You know who
Well,
can be had, though, that we haven't talked about in this secondary? Riley Moss. The most pass interferences allowed in the NFL this year. Should have had the pass interference that lost the game for them on Brandon Cooks. He got away with one in the end zone there last week. He gets penalized a lot. He gets picked on a lot. He's not a very good player. If Drake can get some time on him and, get some good protection, we'll beat this kid deep at least once on Sunday. I can almost, picture it.
Yeah.
Booty.
I agree. He's definitely one you gotta target. And I think to go off of what you were saying about Campbell is assuming he's gonna see a lot of Benito. And I think it was actually interesting hearing Greg Bedard talk about it. And I mention all the time when it comes to offensive line stuff, I think I love listening to Greg Bedard because he dives into the offensive line a lot. Different styles from him versus Campbell and Hunt. Obviously, Daniil Hunter and Will Campbell are just specimens. They have a combination of speed and power and all of that. Benito is very much more a finesse style rusher, which may actually play into Will Campbell's strengths more.
100%.
So, because he's an agile, obviously we'll see with the knee, MCL, all that stuff, but it may play into his strength a little more of that finesse style. And I'm more worried about the entire offensive line because Houston has the two edge rushers that are great. They have this pass rush and this defensive line is pretty solid across all of them. There's not
So Nick Bonito had 14 sacks. The rest of the team as a whole had 71 sacks. So that means that there's still 57 other sacks on that team. There's guys who can get after the quarterback. So it's, obviously Will's got to play well. The whole group's got to play well. The interior, Jared Wilson, he's going to be going against Zach Allen, Jonathan Franklin Myers, Cooper on the edge for, that Moses is going to be taken care of. It's going to take an army. This is a great pass rush as a unit, not just one or two guys. So it's gonna take everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just looking up too these guys' wingspans, right? Will Anderson's got a 6'9" wingspan. Will Campbell's only got a 6'5" wingspan. Nick Benito's 6'6", so he's a bit smaller. And it felt like you could just see it. Like Anderson was just getting his arm out, and Campbell just wasn't long enough. So if it is more of a finesse guy, I think that's where Will's just football instincts as a good block come in. So yeah, but it's not just him, like you said, G. It's a good defense. They lead the league of pressures. It's got to be coming from all over. If they're brilliant blitzes, that's, May's been excellent at reading the blitz and making the right play. So, I don't hate that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a good challenge. Real looking forward to it. Seeing how those guys match up. And then, just for the Patriots, trying to go to 9-0 on the road. They've been road dogs all season, trying to finish the job here. Like we said, trying to get their first playoff win in Denver. Two games really come to mind. Looking at the Denver schedule, it's like the most recent really good teams they've played. Last week, the Bills put up 449 yards on them. and obviously the 5 turnovers did them in. The game that comes to mind is when the Jags went in there week 16 and won 34-20, and I watched that full game, and Lawrence just, like, surgically picked them apart, and, like, they just weren't getting to him. He was 23-36 with 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. He did take 5 sacks, only lost 14 yards on those sacks, though. May needs to have a game like that. Take care of the football, be surgical, make some plays with your legs, right? Like, taking care of the football is so key in this one, and in that game, it just felt like Jacksonville just was a better team all around than Denver. That's kinda how I feel like we are, and as long as we don't do what Buffalo did last week where, you out yards them by a lot, but you lose the game with dumb turnovers, that's what this is gonna come down to, right? Like, especially when you're going against Stidham instead of Bone Days.
Yeah. Drake's got to play it better. I mean, he's made some great flash plays, and like we wouldn't have won that game without, some of those unbelievable throws that he made. But he also had some poor ball security. I'd say I went back, watched some of the highlights. I'd say out of the 4 fumbles, I'd put for 2 to 3 on Drake. 1 was clearly on Will Campbell for sure. I would say 2 to 3 were
Yep.
on Drake. The interception, obviously, like that was a nothing play. That's the end of a Hail Mary, whatever. But we got to have a cleaner game. He's got to play his best game if we're going to win. We can't keep escaping with these kind of like loosey-goosey with the football and ball security issues. So, yeah, he's going to have to play a similar game to Trevor did or what Josh did minus the turnovers. Because Josh did what, like, the Bills moved the ball and did really whatever they wanted to. It's just those stupid turnovers that ended up killing so many drives.
Yeah. I expect Drake to have a much better game in the offense as a whole, to have a much better game moving the ball. Like, I think that's one thing that, like, the Broncos have had games where they let up a lot of points and they let up a
Oh, yeah.
lot of yards. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for that. And I think, honestly, coming off of playing Houston's defense, who flies around, probably the fastest defense in the league, things may seem like they slow down a bit this week. So I really wouldn't be surprised if Drake goes and has a day, to be honest with you. I think that's very much in play.
Yep. Yeah, I had written down, I mean, how many times this year did we preview these games and say, one key to this game, Drake Maye be the best player on the field, and then we recap the game and say Drake Maye was the best player in the field. He hasn't really been the best player on the field through 2 games in the playoffs, and I think this week he gets back on track. I feel pretty confident in that we're going to get one of those really good Drake games. And like you said, like that Houston defense, man, that team, Seattle's playing some really good defense right now too, like really good defense, but that Houston, those 2 pass rushers coming off those edges is just like nothing else anybody's got in the league right now, I would say. And they made it tough. And, that's sometimes going through battles like that, come on strong on the other side and more prepared to play another good defense. So I was going to, transition to our key players, and obviously he's number 1 without question. I think we already talked about Campbell. I had him written down as number 2. Milton Williams / Christian Barmore / the entire interior defensive line. If they can get a really good push, shut down the run game, get some pressure on Stidham up the middle, it makes everything so much easier for the rest of the pass rush and the defense. Like you said, they might be on their 3rd string center. That feels like an area where we can really take advantage of them,
Yeah, I agree. We already talked, like, obviously, I already talked about that. For me, I think a huge factor in this game is if we can continue to get the Ramondre that has been coming to play the past 6 weeks. Because he has been fucking outstanding. He's been a difference maker in every single aspect of the game that he contributes to. He's been a difference maker. I think he could have a big game catching the ball. I think checkdowns this week could be huge, running catching and running, and then seeing what Buffalo did last week running the ball with them with James Cook. I think that, like, there might be some opportunity there for him to get after it a little bit. So I'm banking on him having a good game.
Yep, I agree with all that. One other guy I wanted to mention, he was probably had a really poor game last week, was Hunter Henry. I think after seeing kind of how Dalton Kincaid and some of the tight ends tore up Denver's defense, let's also not forget that Josh Allen missed a wide open Dawson Knox for a walk-in touchdown as well, too, that would have won the game. So they had a lot of plays. I think Dalton Kincaid had close to 90 yards. He played pretty well. And then they also missed like a walk-in, 40-yard touchdown if Josh hits the throw. So I think there's going to be some space for the tight ends in this game, and I think Hunter Henry's going to have to play a lot better than he did last week if we're going to advance.
Yeah, those are all on point. Yeah, even I think Travion checkdowns too, Cal. Like, it's time for Travion to show up at the playoffs. Like, he's really given us pretty much nothing through these 2 weeks, and just one big play. He's a big play guy, but even some more just like 8-yard runs. Like, let's see a little more from him. I think it's time. It's funny. I was doing my key players, and I'm like, I kind of just wrote down like our 7 best players. I wrote down all the guys you said.
Hey, that's what happens in this time of year. It really you have to lean on your best players.
Yeah, and I had Christian Gonzalez, like, go shut down Sutton. Take Sutton out of the game. Make it even harder for Jarrett Stidham, right? Like, don't give him that. Sutton had some drops last week. I got to say, like, that first drive of overtime, he had a couple drops when they had to punt. So
he drops the ball a lot.
I don't think their receiving core is that good. Yeah, like Marvin Mims had a big game. Like, I like our chances of shutting him down. All these guys. So
he's a guy we have. I think he's a guy we have to circle on every play. Almost, he's a big play guy. Sean Payton loves to use him. He's been using him more and more. He draws he's the type of guy that when he draws up plays and schemes stuff up, it's usually for Mims.
Yeah, so, I got no key players left. What do you guys? Any more names that we didn't drop?
I'm curious. I got one. It's for Denver, and it's a matchup. If I was Denver, I would look at this week is going to be Evan Ingram and see if you can get Evan Ingram matched up on Woodson. Because I think Woodson he's been playing awesome football, but just looking at it from their standpoint, tight ends are usually quarterbacks' best friends.
Yep.
They line up in the inside. They can go. They can when they can break either way. They can go inside or out. Usually where they're lined up on the field. And Woodson has been unproven essentially this year in man coverage. And Ingram's a good player. He's a shifty tight end. He's not he's your true receiver type tight end. So if I was Denver, that's a matchup I would look to try to get.
Yep, and you're 100% right. A young quarterback or a backup quarterback, their best friend is a tight end. He's going to get a lot of targets in this game.
Gee, any more key plays for you?
Andy Borregales. He hasn't been tested yet. Obviously he made all his PATs, and he did a good job in some of the field goals that he had in the first game. Kicking in Denver and on the road in a tough crowd is, we just need him to play well and not hopefully, feed into whatever if he's in a pressurized kicking situation. You know what I mean? That's a tough spot for a rookie. So.
Yeah, I want to talk about the altitude too. It's they're only going out there Saturday and been out to Denver before. It takes some adjustment, So hopefully, you get into a tight game late. Sometimes you feel a little bit tired, and hopefully this is a game we take care of business a little bit earlier.
Luckily for us, in that sense, for the most part, obviously, I think offensive line, like in a lot of positions, it could play a factor, but we do rotate. Yeah. We rotate quite a bit, especially on the defensive front. We rotate at receiver. Like their snap count isn't all that high for those positions, but obviously everywhere else it can come into play. It's a real factor.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
one matchup I wanted to talk about before we get into the predictions, Brew. One matchup I wanted to talk about further is the game within the game here. Obviously, Denver's got a great defense. They got a ton of talent. Their defensive coordinator is Vance Joseph. Not someone who I have a very high opinion on. He was one of the worst head coaches I've ever seen in the NFL. I think he's a very overrated defensive coordinator. I think his defenses can be had. He's got a lot of talent working with him. And I feel like I love our matchup within the matchup of Josh McDaniels as our offensive coordinator attacking a Vance Joseph defense. I like that for us. So that's just one other point I wanted to make.
Yep. One other point I wanted to make too, and it goes to, I think that's a great point. One of the point I wanted to make is from our defensive side. I think a key for us is going to be get as many one-on-ones with our defensive line on their offensive line. If we can rush 5 and make them go, hat on a hat, I think we're going to be in a good spot because I think we'll be able to get some wins in those situations. And if we can mug it up a little bit and some disguise pressures and things like that, I think that's where the middle of our defensive line can take over if we can consistently get them one-on-one matchups. So
Love it. So yeah, with that, let's go to some predictions. I'm gonna go 27-13 Pats. They take care of business. I just think they're ready for this, and I think the Jarrett Stidham being the quarterback is a huge deal. I think it's a huge deal. I think we've talked about it. He's in a tough spot here. I think their defense is playing outstanding right now, and they're going to make it tough for him, and just it's going to be a comfortable win.
yeah, I'm gonna go basically right on the line, 28-14.
Okay, you
Pats,
got. I think
obviously.
this is a
Sorry,
tight.
if I didn't.
It's a tight game. I think the Broncos are going to cover the spread. I'm going to go 17-13 Patriots.
Wow, so a little low scoring.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're gonna score. I think their offense. I think Drake's gonna show up, and we're gonna go. Yeah, this is why this kid might be winning the MVP award in a couple weeks. But hey, the spread's the spread. So if it's 5.5, and it's 42, then they're saying it's what, like 24-18 or something like that. So that's kind of a vague.
28-14.
No, because the spread. Yeah, the spread's 5.5. You're going to the total.
The total. I thought that's what you were saying.
Like
bad.
total, like getting. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Spread. Yeah, I get what you're saying. My bad.
So yeah, you're good.
Another quick thing. I just thought about this, and none of us brought it up, and I was surprised. The Vrabel effect. This week, I think, like, obviously we mentioned the tables turning a little bit from like that underdog mentality. What is Vrabel going to do to keep that mentality in this locker room? How is he going to keep that going?
Hey, I think it's just let's go win a football game, boys. We're going to play for the Super Bowl, you know?
It could be that simple.
What else do you
absolutely
need?
could be that simple, but like, I'm curious to see if we hear anything after the game about, you know, that Vrabel effect getting these guys ready to go.
Well, we're still being disrespected. Let's not like, forget that either. It went from the Texans are the 2000 Ravens. They're going to walk into Foxborough, and Drake Maye is going to be on his knees crying at the end of the game to, the Texans were losers. The Patriots have the easiest path ever. Jarrett Stidham is one of the best quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks. This is going to be a good win for the Broncos. So, they move the tables, everything to stack against the Pats every week. So I think Vrabel's got enough ammo. They're not going to respect this team. And, no matter what they do. And it's funny, they say, the Pats haven't played anybody. We've played 16 teams, so you're saying half the league sucks? Is that what you're saying? We haven't played anybody?
Yeah.
It's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, man. They're going to go be in the Super Bowl. It's like, well, we don't really know if they're any good still. It's like,
Love that energy, though,
proof's
G.
kind of in the
Love
pudding.
that fucking energy, G.
But yeah, let's talk about the NFC quick.
Yes.
Seattle -2.5 in Seattle versus the Rams. Over under is 47.5. Rams, number 2 offense, 4th in passing, 4th in rushing. Seattle defense, 2nd overall, 4th in passing, 1st in rush. So that's a strength on a strength there. Seattle's offense, 10th overall, 7th in passing, 15th in rushing. Rams, 7th in defense, 8th in pass, 7th in rush. So this is a hell of a matchup. We've seen them play twice. Week 11, the Rams won 21-19 in LA. Donald threw 4 picks, and Seattle still had a kick at the end to win the game. It was like a 61-yarder that Myers missed. Week 16, crazy game. Seattle comes back from down a couple scores, wins 38-37 in overtime. They hit the 2-pointer. They had that crazy 2-pointer, that fumble. So this has been a great little rivalry this season. I think these have probably been comfortably the 2 best teams of the NFC, and ready to see them battle on Sunday night.
Yeah, this is going to be a barn burner. This is going to be another classic between these two teams. I think when you get the 2 teams that are this good, that have already matched up a couple times, and the games have been great, I don't see it going any other way for a 3rd time in an NFC Championship.
Yeah, what I'm hoping is I just really want the Patriots to win so I can enjoy this football game. Because if the Pats lose, I know I'm
Oh
just gonna be
yeah.
a bitch and turn off the TV, and I probably won't
Yep.
even watch most of this game because that's how I am. I'll be a baby if we lose. So I hope we really win so I can actually enjoy this, what I think is gonna be a great football game. Because the same thing happened in 2013. We lost to the Broncos in the AFC Championship, and I was just a baby, and I didn't watch the, NFC Championship game when Richard Sherman knocked the ball out of Michael Crabtree's hand, got intercepted, and when he was like, "Don't ever try me with that sorry receiver," like I missed that whole game. I want the Patriots to win so I can enjoy a good football game in the NFC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
He brings
interesting.
up a good point real quick, Brew. If the Patriots lose, I quit this podcast, just so you know.
Oh, it's gonna be a tough recap show if they don't win this
I'm
game,
just
man.
kidding. We're riding this to
Yeah,
the
dude, it's great. I think they're like I think we've done like 16. The first one I did was just me talking into my phone after the Steelers game. Then I went to Italy, came back, and we did the Saints game. Or no, the Buffalo game I did by myself. So I mean, I've done what I said they've won. They're overall 16-3. Started like I think I've done like 17 podcasts. They've won like 16 of the games. It's crazy. Or maybe one less. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, back to the NFC. I mean, you've got Seattle, who's just red hot. It feels like they're playing their best ball. Everybody's super high on them, and like they're really good at home. Whereas I feel like the Rams are kind of limping into this one. You know, they barely pulled that one out last week. The game with the Carolina was tough. Um, Stafford's finger's a little banged up. Then you've got Sam Darnold, big game. He's been thrown to really not do well in these big games, so it's a fascinating matchup. I feel like I kind of want Seattle to win. And I feel like everyone's so high on Seattle, and I kind of feel like the Rams are going to pull it out, and we're going to get the May Stafford Bowl, which would be super fun. I mean, if that's where it gets to.
That would be super fun.
I don't
I
know.
want the Rams to win.
I don't want to even go there.
Seattle's a boring story. I got nothing against them. I really don't. I nothing that franchise, the Seahawks, but I don't want to watch Sam Darnold play in a Super Bowl. Like that's just a boring game. There's not the interest level doesn't do it for me. If we played the Rams in the Super Bowl, knock on wood, that would be a very fun matchup. And I know you're a Darnold guy, but
Oh,
you have
yeah.
to admit that.
Oh yeah, no, I think I'd rather play Darnold. That's kind of why I want Seattle to win.
Oh,
I mean, if for a matchup sake for the NFL, the NFL wants Pats Rams guaranteed. They want that. The sex appeal in that matchup, and I say that as a not actual sex appeal. Everyone chill, but you know what I mean. Just from like star-studded power, like that's what they want.
It's a sexy matchup, but I think you get like another Pat Seattle. They're replaying the Marshawn Lynch play. I mean, the Malcolm Butler play.
Malcolm Butler, yep.
All day. Like, that's a classic Super Bowl. Two great franchises. Either way, I think they definitely don't want Jarrett Stidham in the Super Bowl. I'll tell you that much.
No.
That would be tough for the league. Who do you guys got? I'm going to go with Seattle 24-20.
who you got, Cal?
I was hoping you went because I don't really know. I've been back and forth on this one. I think I'm gonna go Seattle. I think I'll go Seattle. Late field goal, 31-28.
I'll be the lone wolf. I'm going to ride out my future bet that I put in June on that Rams to win the NFC. I'm going to say 27-24. Big thing that's going to be key in this game. No Zach Charbonnet, very good running back for Seattle, tore his ACL in that game. And Kenneth Walker, obviously very talented running back, but he's another guy. He gets injured a lot. He leaves a lot of games banged up. If he gets hurt that game, they have no run game. Sam Darnold is not winning this football game.
Yeah, I'm kind of just rolling with how well Seattle's playing defense. Yeah. And I think that Rams offense, they just haven't looked like as healthy and as quick. And maybe that's a weather thing that's playing into it. Like, there's such an outside. The Rams benefit a lot from being the team that plays in LA and playing a lot of games in domes. Like, let's be honest. Like, any team benefits from that offensively. And you saw last week, like, they did
that
not look as good.
Was that another Stafford fake?
No, that's like just being real, though. I mean, you're playing games in domes offensively versus playing in the cold snow. Like, it's
Are you
obviously
sure?
harder to move the ball. It's a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Are you sure?
But like that's just how it is. It's just how like any quarterback over his. It's a Peyton Manning shot. It's a Drew Brees shot. All these guys are playing domes. You get a little bit of a benefit, you know.
I don't know. I think
okay.
Orlovsky would think differently, bud.
I think it's looking like a decent day in Seattle, like 45 degrees right now. So it's not like it's going to be like as bad as it was or anything near last week. So, but yeah, I can't wait to see what happens, boys.
X factor in that game, by the way, Shaheed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's
X
awesome.
factor.
Oh, and one thing he's awesome. Yeah, he's a hell of a player. One thing we haven't talked about is that we're about to get like 2 feet of snow in New England on Sunday, it sounds like. Maybe like at least a foot. So that's going to affect some, watch parties.
I need some advice. Dude, I don't know what I'm doing Sunday. I've been so back and forth because obviously I want to watch it. I want to watch it with my friends. But at the same time, every time I have not, this whole season, I've either gone to the game and I've watched it at Gillette, or I've sat on my couch in the same fucking spot every week. And I did the same thing. I do the same thing with the fucking Celtics. I never go out and watch Celtics games. The one Celtics game I went and watched out with you guys was in the city. And it should have been a closeout game against the Mavs. Game 4, and we lost.
I don't
by
want you to
100.
leave your house.
Yeah, so it's like...
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, if it's a
just wanted
snowstorm,
to say that
Cal,
out loud.
if we're getting a foot of snow, I think the decision's been made. I mean, I was going to say, like, I think we could hop on and do a pod, like, right after the game, potentially. I'd like to get something out Sunday for the commuting crowd on Monday. And, like, what I like to do is I like to record the NFC, like, the game after, and then just start on delay, catch up at the end of the first quarter, if we can. Because I'm thinking, like, I was going to maybe go out on Sunday, but if it's going to be snow, I kind of want that just intense, watch it by myself feeling.
Yeah, I was going to have my buddies
that'll do
over,
it for
but
the pod.
I was going to say, I was going to have my buddies over, but
Yeah,
nobody's coming
it's
over
tough.
in a foot of snow. So it's like, but
Yeah.
you're right, bro. Having the Psycho watch by yourself, it is kind of special. I do miss, because back in the early
another
Dynasty days,
experience,
that's
yeah.
what I used to do. I didn't watch it with my friends. Like 2000 and the early 2000s, stuff like that. I would watch those games by myself, and I kind of liked it. So not that I still like watching with my friends, but there's something special about every once in a while doing the Psycho watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I may not have friends anymore. If I acted the way I act by myself at home watching the game in front of my friends, I may not have a friend.
Nah,
anymore.
we'll still like you, dude. I acted like
People
that.
would
the
look at
other
me
day,
different.
and
That's for damn sure.
I
I acted
wouldn't.
like that the other day.
The things I say about
it
the
was
opposing
fine.
teams is like, if that was ever on like social media, I'd get canceled in 3 seconds. So don't worry, Cal. Don't judge me here, bud.
All right, so that'll do it. We'll see y'all next week on the other side of this. Go Pats. Hopefully this all works out, and see y'all next week.
Go
Go
Pats.
Pats.